Hey fellow terraformers, Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to Planet Crafter, Episode 2, Base Organization. So I'm going to finish off looting this cruiser, and then we're going to go to one more point of interest, and then one more golden crate. I want louder music. Probably should have topped up my food. So food is something that you have a bar that's 100, and depending on what you eat, it fills it a certain amount, whereas water is always 0 to full, and so same with oxygen. Oh, this is a heater tier 2. So the heater tier 2 is going to break down and give me iridium because it costs iridium to make, and you do get 100% refunds doing this stuff. Also, these small canisters that you find will always have microchips in them, whereas the larger storage crates are, it's static and predetermined what you find in them, but they typically won't have microchips. They can, but not the ones in ships. There is also some stuff on these ships that I am not able to break down. Maybe not this specific one, but there are higher tech terminals, like computers, essentially, that you eventually unlock the ability to break down, but that's not something I'm able to do now. So I left about a half box worth of stuff in there that I can go back for. And hey, look at the top right. I'm like almost 1,000th of the way to getting a blue sky. Oh. Yep. Oh, another thing I probably could have done is just ate and drank and freed up some inventory space that way. So here's another microchip, and it gives me mining speed upgrade. I already had the resources for it, so now my gear bar is full until I get an exoskeleton tier 2. But that's pretty good. And I have another seed, so I might as well just I'll drop everything off. I might as well just grow it. So ice and magnesium. And already I can see the need for organization. Don't worry, I've noticed. Oh, it's 100th? Yes, yes it is, because that's what K means. I'm good at math. Math expert. I think what we'll do to save time is just finish off this point of interest and then go to one more golden crate. I did just get enough oxygen generated to unlock the indoor ladder. You're more used to metric? That's fair. That is fair. If only pirates in the 1800s hadn't stolen the imported metric standards from Europe. That's actually why America's on metric. So these are the like computer terminals that you can't break down until much later. There's a few in some of the points of interest, and it's going to be pretty crucial that you do that, because you have need of like circuit boards way before you have the ability to make circuit boards. You're mainly here to see if any bugs are generated out of the blue. You know, in all of my playtime, I didn't hit a lot of bugs. It's a pretty bug-free game. I mean, the only bugs that I would say, they're not bugs so much, but there are definitely clipping errors on the map. You can totally fall through the map and end up in somewhere that the game didn't intend for you to be. But that's not, I wouldn't really call that bugs. So I also have food seeds. These seeds are not oxygen seeds like the flowers that are over there. This specific seed grows squash, but you need a food grower, which is unlocked much later on in order to grow your own food. So those food seeds are going to be ignored. Where is the food grower? I forget what tree unlocks it, but it is not, well, it's not that far down. Oh, here it is. Oxygen at 12 points per trillion. So I'm actually only, I don't know, like a little more than a 12th of the way there. So what I'm going to do next, up to you. I kind of advise working on terraformation, but it is your choice. And I'm heading to the golden crate that is in the Iridium cave. Now, another thing worth mentioning is there are some caves in the game that are blocked with ices, and the ices melt once you hit certain milestones, like specifically like heat milestones. So most of the areas on the map are accessible, but you have to go the long way to get there. Some of the caves are not accessible, however, and in those caves are like rarer resources that you don't have use for until later on in the game. I mention this because terraforming is part of the like map unlock process as well, which is another reason why procedural generated maps would be rather difficult to do. So right there is an ice formation that won't start melting until I make more progress in my terraforming. And if you walk up to the ice, it will tell you what its threshold is. So walking up to the ice starts melting at 100 nanokelvin. And some will be much warmer than that too. It's not all have the same temperature thresholds. All right, here's another golden crate in the Iridium cave. Boom. And the resources I got here is another effigy. It's kind of just a trophy. Iridium rod, which is compressed iridium, which is very useful for later on making rocketry and high efficient heaters and the like, as well as a lot of other things. And uranium rod, which is useful making nuclear power, as well as some other things as well. Another resource that you're going to want a lot of, so these you need infrequently until later in the game. You need superalloy and aluminum frequently, and they're more scarce. The superalloy I'm getting is from the golden crates and breaking down the golden crate. Otherwise, I wouldn't have superalloy just yet. But superalloy is also just a merge of all the other alloys together. So if you have a cobalt, a magnesium, a silicon, an iron, a titanium, and an aluminum, and you stick them together in a crafter, it will make superalloy. It's just a little bit less efficient to make your own superalloy than to mine it. You know, like 6-to-1 ratio inefficient. But yeah, if you're strapped for superalloy, you can always just make it if you're in a pinch. Another useful tool, especially for a new player that you don't unlock till later, which is something that I would actually probably would, if I was to make any of the calls or shots, I would have added in much earlier on, is a compass. You do eventually get access to a compass. I'm pretty familiar with the map, so I don't get lost. But if you're new, make sure you know where your base is, because it's very easy to get lost and asphyxiate. Because without a compass rose, you don't know whether you're going north, south, east, or west. And yeah, that is something I would definitely say to keep an eye on. I should probably also not be leaving the base without oxygen. I mean, I don't need to drink water frequently enough for that to be, like, the thing that kills me. Oh, that wasn't the right seed, this one. So I'm just, what I just did just now is swap the lower efficiency seeds in with the higher efficiency seeds, because you guys want me to generate pressure. And Sebastian, and Tangier, thanks for the gifted sub and the resub. So pressure's rather easy, it's just titanium and iron in drills. And then I'm probably going to need some solar panels to keep that powered. Solar panels are more efficient than wind turbines by a sizable factor. So let's actually get a little wind turbine or solar array going. And yeah, I regret not organizing already. I'm trying to hold off on organization until I get access to lockers. Because otherwise I'm just going to be redoing it, more or less. As for solar panels, it doesn't really matter if it has like an actual clear line of sight to the sky. All that matters is it's built outside. So things like drills, wind turbines, and solar panels are obviously outdoor building things. You can build them on scaffolding. I'm just, you know, you could build them on foundation grids if you wanted to. I'm just not bothering. I could, obviously, but, yeah. For the aesthetics, I'll do it. Because the foundation grids are really cheap. They're just, like 1 iron. Oh. Hi, silicon that, like, popped out of nowhere. So. There we go. Actually, this says straight up clipping to the wall, isn't it? Snobby one, thanks for the resub and the hoping that I have a good stream. I appreciate it. Is that the same height? Yes. All right, more cobalt, more silicon, and probably more water. Hold control to rotate 90 degrees. Yeah, I should be doing that. That's a pretty good amount of power. Whoops, that's not what I meant to do. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 7 so far? And I think a pretty reasonable way to go about it is to try to generate as much pressure as I have generated oxygen. Keeping those levels roughly even, so that you're progressing in all of the research trees at essentially the same speed. I don't know how much pressure I am creating in relation to oxygen, but I will check in a sec. So it's 2.7 oxygen, 1.8 pressure, thereabouts. The other thing that might be worth checking, however, is when you get the next mining tech. So here is drill tier 3, but drill tier 2 is going to be sometimes in other trees. So this is a good example of that, where drill tier 2 is pressure, and drill tier 3 is heat. So if you neglect one and do the other, sometimes you don't tech unlock the next thing. So at micropascal, 1.2 micropascal, I'll get drill tier 2. So we're heading towards that rather rapidly, meaning there might not be a reason for me to try to generate as much pressure as I did oxygen. The reason the oxygen is outpacing is because I have those golden seeds, and those golden seeds are much, much more efficient than what would normally be used by a new player that doesn't know about the golden seeds. Unless you watch content like this, which tells you where they are. I guess. So after right now I'm just trying to make the last solar panel so that it's, you know, aesthetically pleasing and symmetrical. But after that, do you want me to work on heat or do something else? Looks like generating heat is going to win. I'll just call that a little early. So we already have heater tier 2. The heater tier 2, if you're wondering about its efficiency, I'll line them up next to one another, because I also just got Vegetube tier 2. But this is a good example. So picocascal, 1.3 versus 4.5. So in terms of the resources invested to the efficiency, teching up is almost always worth it if you have the resources. One thing to note is that the next tier heater did require aluminum, which is a slightly harder to resource than just the tier 1s, which is iron, silicon, and iridium. So if you don't have the AL, you know, heater tier 2s might not necessarily be an option, but as I said, if you can afford it, do it, because the efficiency benefits outweigh the costs by a lot. So I had a few more tier 2 heaters. I might need to expand the power grid while I do that, and I might need to get some more aluminium or iridium. But we're moving the needle. We're at 5 KTI. What's our heat looking at now? So 13. You can see it's very obvious that I'm using the tier 2s, because our heat index is way better than pressure or oxygen, outpacing it tremendously as a result of the tier 2 usage, which is good. We want to terraform quickly. It's kind of the goal. If you wander around and you see like things like cobalt oddly askew like this, it means that it was introduced to the planet through meteorite strikes, or like this iron that is like oddly vertical, because the stuff that is rendered on the planet is way more flat than that, like this. So it gives you an indication. Like cobalt is typically vertical or near vertical, so if it's tilted, like magnesium tilted like this, it's because it came down from a strike. And hey, we just got our screen progress, which is one of the last first steps that we had left over as a hanger-on. Another thing that would be really useful for me to make is the energy level screen, because without the energy level screen, it's hard to know when I'm going to have a brownout or blackout. There's no brownouts, so it's just a blackout. Power is kind of like an all or nothing deal. So I'll add a power screen in here. And now I can see I have 11 kilowatt hours of power available. So your total consumption and production. So I'm still out producing a good amount. 2 silicon and an iron. If you don't want me to organize next, feel free to just vote no, and I'll put up the standard poll again. Ooh, there it is, drill tier 2. Now, one of the benefits of the safety pod is it does have a little tier 1 or tier 0, I guess it's tier 1 crafter. It does have a tier 1 crafter in it, which is like a nice safety net. So that you can always make water bottles and oxygen. So I just had it made a little water for me. Otherwise, it's Oddly, something that you can't even make yourself, right? Your first craft is a tier 2. This is like a tier... This says tier 2, but it's not tier 2. It's like tier 1. Alright, so got some resources. Let's get back to the pod. It looks like you guys want a little organization. So the way I like to lay out the organization is... is having a large room full of things sorted alphabetically so that they're just easy to manage. There is a button up here in your inventory which has you sort your inventory, and it sorts it alphabetically. So if you have your storage containers alphabetically, like aluminum, cobalt, iron, you know, whatever the order is, down to, you know, A through Z, it will make it just a lot easier to keep things well organized, I think. Yeah. So we got the heat. So, a crafting room, huh? So you are able to build, sort of like, when you're within the pod like this. It's just doesn't always get snapped to where you intend. So if you guys want me to organize, start on that. And I'm going to need more titanium for more room. The higher tier crafting benches don't take up an insane amount of space. They're pretty compact. So I think like a 2x3 room is probably going to be enough to have storage racks for everything that you will ever need to add to the game. Can you stack boxes? Make shelves to stack boxes? No, but you do gain access to floor to height lockers pretty early on, which makes stacking boxes pretty moot pretty quick. While you're out, there's also the static blue loot crates, which are always really nice to loot. Saves you a lot of effort because I can just go boop. And then if I have the space for the iron, I always break them down so I know not to return. Gives you big No Man's Sky vibes. It doesn't really... It's not like an action adventure game. Like, I mean, I can see how that is because you know, the scenery and the like, but it plays considerably different. It plays more like Subnautica or Raft or something. I'm not exactly sure. It's something more of that ilk. It has a story in it. Eventually you'll unlock a message terminal and a communications disk. And then that's not the only part of the story. There's other parts of the story later on that you gain access to as well. More of the lore of the planet you're on. I am not going to elaborate because it would be big spoilers. But with that said, my 2 cents, the lore and the story kind of feels slapped in. In fact, I think it was added in a much later update. So it is sort of slapped into the game kind of late on in its development. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but you don't really touch upon the story, the true lore of your planet until much later in the game. For better or for worse. Maybe that's how they wanted it and how they designed it. But I just feel like it, I don't know, it just, for me, it played a little weird. So it's like, oh, okay, there's lore behind all of this that was not communicated to me for the entirety of the game up until this point. Okay, I'm almost done with the actual structure of what I'm going to call the crafting room, and then I'll be able to just throw a few boxes in and organize. Oh no, there's titanium. Got stuck. Because there's full refunds, as long as like, there's not like physical structures inside of whatever you're trying to break down, it's very easy to just remove things, put them back. Ah, the next exoskeleton. So we're 16 out of 175 to the first step. Gives you an idea of like the scope of the game. What are we doing on power? Still 11 kilowatts. And the next solar panel. Those solar panels are going to be the main way to generate power for a very long time. Just need a little bit more iron for the rest of the boxes. Hey, Shauna, thank you for the resub. Cheers. And generally speaking, the tier 2 objects require aluminum, whereas the tier 1s do not. Which is why my word of advice was collect as much aluminum as you can, because as you sort of replace all your tier 1 stuff or supplement your tier 1 stuff with tier 2 stuff, you will find yourself strapped for aluminum unless you know where to look. And even then, even knowing where to look doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have a lot of it, because it can spawn in certain caves and the like, but like not in satisfiably high enough quantities. Later in the game, you gain access to mining drills, and you'll be able to start to drill for resources that you need, rather than relying upon looting. But that, again, doesn't come until much later, so it's not of much help early on in the game. All right, got plenty of iron for storage crates. Here, bud. And 3 more slots. It just clicked. Whoever sent us to the planet gave us so little that we weren't even bothered to give us a headlamp. I know, right? You have to make your own headlamp. We'll get into more of the backstory and lore of the game as I unlock the message terminals and find the points of interest that have some of that lore, which will clear up why you're here a little bit more. Alright, that's probably enough. Oh, got the next oxygen tank too. Do we have a comms thingy? No, we don't. The other thing I'm going to do in terms of the organization is to not keep space food, water, and oxygen, or effigies and that kind of stuff in the same storage, because I'm setting up storage for crafting and not storage for like seeds and flowers and any of that stuff. So it's alphabetical except for like super alloy. Super alloy goes by alloy. I'll call that that. So let's lay it out. Alloy. And then aluminum. Cobalt. Iridium. What was that? Iron? Yep. Or here, Fe. Alphabetical, but only sort of, right? Magnesium. Is Mg manganese? No, that's Mn. I don't know. Whatever. As long as I know what it is. Silicon. Titanium. And uranium. And an extra box. There are other resources that I haven't unlocked yet and won't see for a while. But there we go. We have boxes for everything. So now when I get back into the base, I can actually put things where they belong. Rather than willy-nilly, a little everywhere, very disorganized and hard to find what I want. The other thing I probably ought to do is to move the actual crafting thing, the crafting bench, to over where the boxes are, so it's a little bit easier. What to do next? So, taking a look at the tech tree, I already have some tier 2 heaters. I don't have any tier 2 drills. I don't have the tier 2 veg tubes used. So my oxygen and pressure is definitely falling behind. Well, whether or not you want me to build that is up to you. I could also do some exploration or really anything you all end up voting for. I also like to put the iridium rods in with the iridium. I don't know if other people do it that way, but I think of it as kind of like the same resource. So I don't have separate special boxes for like iridium or anything like that. Iridium rods, rather. Oh, something's inside. What's inside this? No, that's not true. I got a lot of cobalt, don't I? I'll put an other box for now. Food. Water. O2. Effigy. I think they spell effigy differently. Yeah, IE. Flowers and seeds. Perhaps in the future... Oh, I also don't have fabric. But perhaps in the future will be better spaces for this stuff, but like... I don't have the tech for food growing or anything like that, so I'm not even going to worry about it. It's my effigies, flower seeds, fruit seeds. Oh, see, yeah, this is an example of a strike being a little inconveniencing. I can't get to my crafting room. Jesus, dude. Well. No, there it goes. It does decay over time. It's just, oh, that's pretty funny. How to fix that? It goes away. I don't, you just wait. That's how to fix it. Fabric. Yes. Okay, you guys want me to generate oxygen? It happens very infrequently. It happens, like, very infrequently. So generating oxygen, taking a look, we are definitely going to want to make use of the tier 2 oxygen generators. Oh, the Vegetubes tier 2. So that is 2 ice, iron, magnesium, and silicon. Mostly ice. 2 ice, magnesium, iron, and silicon. Struggling on the silicon. Hey, Guero, thanks for the resub. Welcome to the stream. Ah, drill tier 3 already. Dang, we're going faster than I thought we would. Can I make a tier 2 suit already? I already have a tier 2 exoskeleton. If you mean a backpack, I think yes. I just haven't made it yet. But that would be a tier 3 backpack, so that's why I was confused. I didn't make a box for ice. True. We can put it in water. I mean, ice is water. Just kind of hard water. Technically, it's not even hard water, but yeah. Okay, Vegetube tier 2s. Sounds good. I'm going to start laying them out here. And then I'm going to pull the golden seeds out. So here is the side-by-side. This thing makes 7.2 parts per quadrillion per second, whereas this makes 0.15. Like, massive, massive difference. Order of magnitude. And pretty much everything in this game is like an order of magnitude jump when you do stuff like this. Anytime you jump up a tier, it's almost like an order of magnitude of, like a 1 order of magnitude, where they're roughly 10 times more efficient or so. Not exactly. It varies. All right, what's my next best seed? Pestra. So if we take a look at the oxygen board, I should have checked what it was before, but our oxygen has just about caught up with our heat, as you can see. Just by those 3 Vegetubes. I'm going to make a few more Vegetubes, but yeah, it doesn't take much to catch up. Thank you for tuning in to Planet Crafter, which originally streamed live on Twitch August 29th. If you have any feedback or questions for me, please let me know in the comments below. If you would like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you would like to join my online gaming community on Discord, a link can be found in the description of this video or on my website. Thank you so very much for watching, and a special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you in next episode or an upcoming stream of something else. Farewell.